There are four major states of consciousness that we can operate in. And over the course of a day and larger units of time, we through these states. So the first one is to me. Just basically life is happening to me. I'm a victim of my circumstances, of the world, of whatever's happening outside me, other people, other things, and life is happening to me. Feels like I'm not in the driver's seat. Something
Mhm.
else outside me is. I feel disempowered. I have an external locus of control. And this is in this map, the lowest state we can operate from. Now, the next one is by me. So some people graduate from to me to by me. So what happens is when we go to by me, instead of being the victim, we become the creator of our life. So this is us stepping into the driver's seat. Now here, I'm making things happen. I feel more confident. I feel more powerful. I feel like I have more agency. I'm taking more ownership and I'm more in control. And I use the word loosely because in life, we're pretty much never in control. We're barely
Right.
in control of ourselves, let alone the world. But we have the sense of feeling in control is useful. And it's the sense of having agency over ourselves, our experience, and what we're able to create. And this is a great place to be. But some people graduate from this level to the next level, which is through me. So here, instead of being the creator, I become the conduit. And this is also the place where we experience flow. For flow to happen, we have to be a conduit. And at this stage, life is flowing through me. And the reason why life is flowing through me is because I'm offering very little resistance to it. The reason why I'm offering very little resistance to it is because I'm accepting reality the way it is. I'm not arguing with reality. I'm not constantly taking an against position to every circumstance that appears in my life.
Right.
And I'm operating in a state of trust. And I'm operating connected to a larger picture and a larger truth, being that as I live in this universe, which is fractal in nature, where every part contains the whole, in me is the entire universe, always conspiring in my favor. The universe is holding me and it sees me with benevolence. So it's always working out for me. And that lets me trust even when things don't seemingly go my way. And when I can be in that trust, I offer a little resistance, sometimes no resistance. And therefore, I unlock a level of ease. And because I unlock a level of ease, this is also the most energy efficient state so far. So the higher we go up on the scale, the more energy efficiency we experience. And the more energy efficiency we experience, the more energy rich we feel, and the less energy poor we feel. So at the bottom of this scale, and to me, when I feel like the victim, I don't have a lot of energy because all my energy is used up in that feeling of powerlessness. As I take more ownership, what happens is that I get a little more energy back. As I go into being a conduit and offering even less resistance, I get a little more energy back. The highest state is that of as me, and this is the state of non-duality. So here, I'm everything, and everything is me. I am you, you are me, I am the tree, I'm the forest, I'm the cloud. There is no separation. And when we operate in that space of no separation, we also dissolve all limits. We become limitless because there is no boundary to me. There's no boundary to my capacity. There's no boundary to my potential. There's no boundary to my desires, my dreams, my impact. And that's the most energy rich place because now I'm connected to the source. I'm plugged into the power source, which is the universe, God, the divine, whatever the belief system you want to use here. And this highest level as me oneness is a place that we can definitely stabilize, but it's not without its drawbacks. So the main drawback here is that we lose the drive to make shit happen. We lose the desire for more. And as entrepreneurs, it feels like the motivation completely collapses. Why? Because here at this level, everything's perfect. Everything's okay. Client leaves, perfect. Someone joins and we make a big sale, perfect. It's all good. This is a place that is very useful and valuable to touch regularly, ideally once a day, if not more often. But this I see more as the investor frame, because we're not directly responsible for the operations, the future, and the building and growing of a business directly. It's not on us.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very useful to have access to this place when we're in the CEO role. So the ideal place for a CEO is spending most of the time in being the conduit and some of the time being in this oneness place. This oneness place is where we have the maximum potential to create. Manifestation is basically how we create, because we think about something that doesn't exist, that's not here. And by thinking about it, we create a quantum potential and we start energizing the version of reality where that's already true. And the more we think about it and the more we energize that thought with emotion, and then the more we back up that thought and emotion with action, that's how we change reality. So it's very useful. And this is why in the Peak Performance OS, every day we step into that place of expecting miracles. We step into that place of really stretching our imagination and supercharging desire and being like, what if, this happens? And what if I could do this? And why not this? Because when we touch this place, we can access a greater level of desire and a greater level of our creative potential. When someone is stuck in to me, the move to go into by me, basically to go up, is to take responsibility. What's happening in to me is that there is an absence of responsibility. So when we take responsibility, we step into the creator role. Now, when we're in by me, the way to step into through me is really interesting. It's actually to surrender. What's happening is that when we're stuck in by me, we're actually taking too much responsibility. And responsibility is a good thing, but too much responsibility becomes another thing that holds us back. And again, here, to go from through me to as me, it's radical acceptance. So these are the moves we make to move up the scale. And ideally, as the CEO, you want to be in a place where the growth of this business is just flowing through you. You're open to serendipity. You're not linearly responsible for, in the weeds actions. You don't have a lot of rocks on your plate. You're the conduit. And a good visual to think about this is you're the conductor of an orchestra. If the conductor of the orchestra jumps in and starts playing the violin, there's no one conducting. And what's going to happen is that the coherence in terms of the symphony that's being played is going to go south. It's just going to not sound great. So there needs to be one person who's conducting the orchestra. And that's why for a CEO, it's ideal to be the conductor, not playing a certain instrument or jumping back and forth. But
Yeah.
this a map so you understand where we're going and where we want to be. There's nothing wrong with jumping in and going into the creator space and doing things that need to be done.
Right.
But we want to keep in mind the roadmap, because that gives us perspective. That gives us personality, and that gives us a level of guidance and wisdom and sight so that we can make these navigations. So the last thing I want to share here is that this place at the bottom, which is the most energy poor, is also the place of highest entropy. What we're trying to do in life and in business is we're trying to minimize entropy. The more entropy we have, the more energy is required to navigate and manage that. When someone is extremely self-critical, they have negative self-talk, they're very hard on themselves, that's a very high entropy state. When someone feels a lot of guilt and shame, a very high entropy state. And it is way more damaging than the person realizes in the moment. Because on some level, people get addicted to negative states because it actually produces a cascade of neurochemicals and hormones and stuff that we can get addicted to, cortisol, adrenaline, and so on. So what we want to do, both in the business and in life, is minimize entropy and maximize energy. And this is the map that we can use to locate exactly where we are at any given moment, and then understand what move is required to go one level higher. It's hard to go from to me to as me in one jump, but we can say, okay, where do I need to take more responsibility? Where am I not taking responsibility? Where am I not taking work? Then I can say, where am I taking too much responsibility, too much ownership? Where do I need to surrender a little? And then I can ask myself, what am I not accepting? Where can I practice radical acceptance and step into the state of oneness where I see perfection in myself and everything else? Because in that place, I have the most amount of energy and I experience the lowest amount of entropy. And that's actually the space where miracles happen. That's a space where serendipity happens. That's a space where things that are ineffable and inexplicable and positive, luck, that's where all of that stuff lives. Because when we're in that place of being one with the universe, we are in the state of perfect harmony. So it's energy rich, it's lowest in entropy, and it's the highest level of harmony. And what we're seeking in all of these places is a greater state of harmony. And this is the reason why you spent a week in Costa Rica and you were in the jungle, in nature, not glued to your phone, not worrying about the business, not stressing out, and you were communing with the river while rafting. You were, communing with the trees while hiking, and it felt really good. Because when we operate in harmony with nature, we feel amazing and we work optimally. So the cool thing is, that's how we also think about growing and scaling a business. Because the more a business is in harmony with the system that it's housed inside of, which is the universe, the more we align the geometry of the business to the geometry of the universe, the more energy rich the business will get, the more entropy in the system of the business is going to reduce and get minimized. A little entropy is always going to be there, but we want to minimize it as much as possible. And the highest harmony, which means the culture in the business will be great. Everyone will be on the same page. People will feel a sense of togetherness and belonging. And, they're all about the mission and the vision where you're trying to go. People will be really engaged in their roles. You can feel the energy. It's going to be amazing culture. The customers will feel it. It'll just seep out in all the ways. The market will feel it. It'll feel like the business is magnetic to opportunity. You feel like people are just lining up to work with you. Everything you touch turns into gold. Because when we're aligned with the higher level design, we don't have to make things happen. We just need to arrange the geometry of the structure to be in resonance, and the universe, which is the main power source, does all the heavy lifting. And that's how we're meant to function, both as an individual complex system, as an individual being, but also as a business complex system. What you were doing is you were practicing surrender. You were practicing trust, and you were letting go. And when you do that, when you let go, you allow life to happen.